Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Briggs, President and CEO of American Bible Society, and I want to join Gary, Mart, Michelle, all the presenters today, in welcoming all of you and thanking you for the great work that you are all contributing to as part of the Every Tribe, Every Nation Alliance. First of all, Michelle, what a great word. What an opportunity to hear from a leader like Michelle, who can draw from his own life experience, his deep theological understanding, his deep respect for missiology, and he is bringing such great value to our alliance. So, Michelle, thank you for that great reflection on God's Word. What a way to get us started. My assignment today is to, by the way, I think this is a hard assignment, but it's to give you a briefing on the progress to date related to Every Tribe, Every Nation. So you turn the clock back to 2010, and none of this framework existed, and none of this gathering could have taken place. It was just an early meeting in Orlando with a handful of people, and from that early beginning came the progress that we've made today. So I won't give you a reflection on every one of the 100 plus meetings of the steering committee that we had usually in the DFW airport, in the Ambassador, or in the Admirals Club, I think it's called, and it's a room that's kind of too small, actually. We crowd in there, but the faithfulness of those that have participated has been noteworthy and has, again, given birth to and undergirded this work. And so my job is to give you a high-level overview of the progress. So let's start with a picture of what Every Tribe, Every Nation carries in our collective hearts, our full vision for the work of translation across the world. And it's important to note that ETEN promotes and advocates for all Bible translation work that's needed. And that, of course, and we refer to that as every correct. So this is a goal that is respectful of all of our collective goals, so many organizations, and we are focused on full focused on appropriate revisions, updated to meet the needs of the people on the ground. And this is the big vision. Now, we refer to this as the square. Now, that's a metaphor that we've come to use that helps us communicate, but that's all the Bible translation activity that all of us as implementing organizations are focused on, responsible for, and, of course, the work of Bible translation is going to continue. So my assignment is to provide you an overview of the progress to date. And so we're going to start in the beginning. In 2010, we began to promote, as Every Tribe, Every Nation, the comprehensive work of Bible translation around the world. So you may have heard some of this when I previously spoke, but I'm not sure where we lost the audio. So I'll just make sure we're clear that Every Tribe, Every Nation promotes every verse current. That is our ultimate, that's ultimately what we're driving toward. And we as implementing organizations want to ensure that everyone on the planet has a full Bible, and Every Tribe, Every Nation promotes that goal. Now, as a matter of identifying a focused body of work that ETEN is focused on funding as a subset of that body of work that we call the square, by the way, the large body of Bible translation work we refer to as the square. This is a metaphor that helps us communicate. Within that square is a circle, and we associate that circle with the all access goals. And the all access goals are a subset of the total Bible translation objective. And this is where ETEN maintains its laser-like focus, is around the all access goals in terms of the resourcing and the specific work that ETEN is funding. So the ETEN all access goals, if we go into drill into the detail of what's inside the circle, we'll see, and most of you are familiar with this, but I want to make sure that we're crystal clear that the goal includes 95% of Bible, people groups that would have access to the full Bible. 99.96% would have the full New Testament, and 100% would have at least a portion of God's Word available in their own heart language. And then included is also the top 100 languages, some of the majority languages, the most strategic languages, that we would ensure that there are at least two translations available for the church in those languages. So that is a picture of the all access goals. So with that focus, we then pay attention to how do we get this work done, and this is where the power of every tribe, every nation is most visibly seen. It's bigger. This goal is bigger. To complete this work by 2033 clearly is a bigger goal than any one of us as organizations could take on. It's a bigger funding challenge than any one resource partner could take on. And this is the power of what is an alliance of organizations and resource partners that has come together in these years. Now, you've all had experience. You know how to look good for a photo opportunity. You know how to, that's kind of partnership with a lowercase p. And we all like each other across organizations. We get along. And we have found ways over the years to collaborate. But every tribe, every nation is a different picture. This is partnership with a capital P. This is graduated into a full expression of an alliance. And an alliance means that we're sharing this goal. We're sharing our respective infrastructures. We're collaborating. We're eliminating duplication, and we're looking for efficiencies to accelerate the work of Bible translation. And then alongside the implementing partners are 5 resource partners that are incredibly generous, of course, with their financial giving, but it's not just that they bring to the table. They have reported for duty as full-scale strategists, helping not only clarify the vision and strategy, but problem solve and help with the heavy lifting of the planning and implementation as well. So this is what we now know as not just a group of organizations and individuals that come together, but a body, an alliance that has found ways to fit together in meaningful ways and accelerate the work of Bible translation. So just to introduce you, you can see the logos of the organizations that are listed here. And our resource partners include Gary Nelson, who serves as the chair. You met Gary at the opening. Mark Green, Catherine Barnhart, David Denmark, who's with the McClellan Foundation, and Todd Peterson, who has especially championed the work of Illuminations. So their families have, again, contributed so much, and we owe them a great debt of thanks. But they, together with all of the implementing partners, form the Every Tribe, Every Nation Alliance and Steering Committee in particular. All right, so now we have some powerful evidence that has emerged that has demonstrated the effect, demonstrated the productivity of an alliance as opposed to our organizations working separately. So on this slide, you see four expressions of collaboration. The Digital Bible Library, where all of our implementing organizations have agreed to place our translated content for distribution. Paratext is a translation platform that most of you are familiar with. And again, we've agreed to leverage and build and improve that platform together and make that available to the Alliance. Progress.Bible, a contribution that especially led by SIL, to gather in one location all of the data that we need to keep track of our progress and the ongoing need, and the Digital Training Library available to extend the reach of the critical training needed for our translators and other contributors to the work. Now imagine the price tag. if 10 organizations set out to produce each one of those 4 components separately in their own organization and compare that to the price tag that we can identify when we collaborate together. That's meaningful efficiency that has emerged out of our alliance. All right, so let's look a little bit more carefully at the all access goals, and we'll look at the specific dashboard. You've seen the overarching shared goals. So, but the critical work is at the tactical level, where we're identifying what are the languages that actually still need to have this work done, where we need to focus. So you'll note here that the number of the languages still in need of translation is at about 6,000. Now we know there are 7.3 or 7,300 languages in the world, and we're identifying 6,000 of them that need translation work. And our all access goal category breaks that down into this chart so that we can track each category. Now, the good news here is that the goal that there's a portion of these languages where the goal has been met. And but where we are paying attention is where the goal has not been met. And we know that there are some 3,700 plus languages where we still have work to do, and what a task we have ahead of us. And that's why we need to collaborate together, focus relentlessly on this goal, and drive toward the 2033 target to get this work done. All right, so another view of the remaining need. You'll see in this pie chart that the 2,200 plus languages reflect the goal that is met, and in among the 3,700 plus languages where the goal is not met, if we break that down a little further, we'll see that 1,264 of these projects are in progress and active. So that's good. That's where we're making progress. But the challenging news is there's still almost 2,000 that we estimate there is a need, but the work has not yet started. And on top of that, there's 500 plus that have been started at some point, but for a variety of reasons, we haven't been able to maintain the progress, and so they're not currently active. So this is the scope of the work that we have to do. So much to celebrate in terms of this 11 years of progress, but with 12.5 years remaining until 2033, this is the work that remains. So, and by the way, you can see all this data and lots more detail at progress.bible. So if you're not accustomed to going there, please go and take a look around at the website, and the progress.bible team is keeping that updated regularly so that we have a go-to source. This is a breakthrough itself, by the way, a go-to source for Bible translation data and the information that we need. All right, so let's look at some of the issues that we know are going to be challenges going forward. So we know how much time we have left till 2033. We know what the size of the task is, the scope of the task. So what are the issues that are going to be critical for us to lean into, to understand, and to find ways to accelerate as a result of our exploration of these issues? So I'll just mention a few. There are others also, but here are some significant ones. The issue of multilingualism. We'll really need to draw on our collective expertise and understand missiologically on the ground where multilingualism is a factor and where that will affect the need for Bible translation going forward. So we know it will be a factor. We need to clarify that. And then we need to ensure that we're informing our targets with the actual language needs in mind. Secondly, what about source texts, the helps needed, the tools for the translation work, especially as we work to accelerate translation work in minority language. We need to pay attention to the gateway languages and ensure that we're leveraging those tools that can be available, leveraging them to accelerate the work in the smaller, in the minority languages. And that will be a critical success factor in reaching our target. The issue of orality, this is something we've come to understand more fully, but there's so much to learn about orality. As many as half the languages where no translation has been done at all, or even begun, are oral languages. And so we need to explore, understand the best of the best oral Bible translation methodologies, and ensure that we are leveraging those in order to make the appropriate progress. And then what about sign languages? Now, this was a discovery just a few years, I shouldn't say discovery, but we recognized, it was a recognition a few years ago that we needed to incorporate the count of sign languages that were in need of translation also. And so that has added some 350 languages that are still in need of translation. And that's not a straightforward task, because then we need to ensure that we can mobilize the qualified workers, that we can provide the proper training, resources, tools, et cetera, and significantly increase the pace of work in the deaf community. And so this is an important area of emphasis as well. So there are others, and part of the power of our alliance is that as we address these missiological challenges, that we are able to put our heads together, pray together, discern together, and draw from the best thought leaders from around the world to help clarify the path collectively. All right, so well, to conclude, I just want to point out that it was last year that we assessed our progress. And in 2020, we came together and considered the progress that we made, and there's lots to celebrate, as we've talked about. But at the same time, we recognize if we continue at the same pace of the previous 10 years, we actually will not hit the 2033 targets. The trajectory does not bring us to the finish line on the right timetable. So with that in mind, we went to work on a body of considerations, a list of interventions, really, considerations that would create a difference in our pace, in our trajectory, and increase the chance of our being able to hit our 2033 target. We've referred to this as the What Must Change agenda. And in just a moment, I'll introduce my friend Jeff Morin. He is the president and CEO at Biblica. And Jeff is going to brief you on the detail around the What Must Change agenda. I'll just prepare for Jeff's presentation with a quick overview of these categories. So when we rolled up the collective thinking, we knew that these were the 4 categories that we needed to specifically organize around, that we needed to bolster our spiritual unity and the alignment of our base. And without unity, we will not be able to move forward, and without being attentive and intentional about unity, it doesn't just fall into place by itself. So we need to proactively build that unity. This movement will move at the speed of trust. We need a high trust environment among us. Number 2, we need to radically broaden involvement, and we need more players on the field to get this work done. Thirdly, we need to thoughtfully integrate innovation work, and there's going to be some breakthrough innovations that are going to increase our pace and increase the quality of our work and bring down the price tag of our work, and we're working on those fronts. And then finally, sharply focus the aligning energies on the goals, relentless, laser-like focus on the all-access goals. Now remember, the square we advocate for, and you all know who work in the various implementing organizations, your own organization is working on the broad Bible translation square, if you will. And we're very, very thankful for the contribution and the focus around a subset of that square, the circle, which is the all access goals. And that's what we're going to be relentlessly focusing on as an alliance. So in conclusion, we know that God's promises are for all people. We know that from Ephesians 3. No one is left out. Everyone on the planet has the right, and we have the privilege of ensuring that they have access to God's word in their heart language. And we know from Revelation 7:9 that everyone is represented before the throne of God. So with that sort of biblical view in mind, we celebrate the progress that we have made to date since 2010. And again, we look forward to the day in 2033 when we celebrate again, when the all access goals have been achieved. And meanwhile, we devote ourselves, commit ourselves to doing what it takes to adjust, to change, to find the way, to discern the path forward that God has in mind as he continues to call us on this journey of Bible translation. So with that, let me again introduce my friend Jeff Morin, President and CEO of Biblica, to brief us more fully on the What Must Change agenda. So thanks everyone for all that you're doing, and thanks for the privilege of briefing you today. Jeff, over to you.